Good morning. It is Tip Tuesday. It is also Thanksgiving week. This is Mitch with IndySoft. I hope you're all doing well. It's Tip Tuesday, so I am going to get to a tip here in just a moment. But first things first, I would like to say I wish everyone a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you get lots of food in you, lots of time with your friends, family, football, parades, the whole nine yards. So hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Along the same token of that, on behalf of all of IndySoft, just want to say thank you to all of our customers. That's one of the things that we're truly grateful for is the opportunity to serve and take care of you all. So I do thank you guys for that opportunity that you give us. Okay, so it is Tip Tuesday. I do want to bring you a quick tip this week. And what I want to show you is a utility in the software that we call Workload Charts. What this tool does is it gives you the ability to forecast what's coming due. It gives you the ability to forecast what your revenue will be if you're a commercial Cal Lab. However, let's say you're a manufacturer. You can also utilize this tool to kind of review your schedules and maybe help utilize this tool to balance out what's due in certain months. So we've all kind of come across that scenario where, in August we have 100 items due, but then in July, the month before that, we only had about 10 items. So utilizing this workload charts tool will give you kind of a presentation method to see which months have kind of the higher spikes of what's due. You can also project potential expenses for outsourced calibrations. So there's a handful of different ways you can utilize this tool that I'm going to show you. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to workload charts. Again, workload charts, we're looking into the future and we're doing some forecasting, okay? Which is a little bit different than history charts that we talked about last week, okay? So the first thing that we want to do with this tool is we want to specify our date range and then also our interval, our frequency. So for me, I'm just going to look out 12 months and I'm going to indicate my number of months here, okay? What you have the ability to do is also choose which type of schedule you want to go and look out into the future of. So in the software, we all know you can have maintenance schedules, repair schedules, R&R schedules, calibration schedules, and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and look at calibration. We also allow you to go ahead and do the same thing with your charge types. Again, one lab or one unit may call a calibration charge. Other folks may call it a 17025 cal charge. So we allow you to indicate your charge type that's going to be visible in the data set that we populate here. So the next thing is you do have the ability to do your chart. You can present the data either by the count of instruments or by the sum total of the charges. So I'm going to actually toggle to both so you can see that in just a moment. And then of course when you present the chart or create that, we give you the ability to create a column chart, bar chart, line chart. Personally, I like the column chart, but there's 4 or 5 options that we give you here. So basically we have the setup fields, right, which I've got that all established here. And by the way, it does retain whatever you leave it as last time. So for example, if I perform this workload forecast, I close out this tool. Next time I come back in, it'll have that pre-set up for me. So what I want to do is I want to go and select my data set. So for me, I'm going to look at my ABC company, and I'm going to specify which gauges are active as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select those records. That's 387 gauges in my case, or tools in my case. I'm going to hit add. So when I hit add right here, what this does is it presents in a grid mode all of the instruments out of that 387, which ones actually have a calibration that needs to be performed within this next 12 months. So if you look through here, you're going to see item Keith 1, it's got a 1-month cycle. It's due, November 2018. So those are coming up here in the next couple of days. But as I scroll down, you're going to see instrument 10,034-2. Well, it has a 2-month cycle. So that particular instrument is going to be due in January. But as I start scrolling through my list here, we'll also see that that item is going to be due again in March. And again, it's going to be due again in May, and then so forth. So that item that has that 2-month cycle, it really actually has to be calibrated 6 times within that next 12-month window that we established. So essentially what this tool is doing is based on the parameters that we've established, I have 75 instruments that need to be calibrated within the next 12 months. What we can also see is the projected revenue if we're a commercial cal lab, or expenses if we're a manufacturer, are just under $22,000. We give you that ability to also toggle over to the chart. And then when we toggle over to the chart tab, I can see here in March, I've got $6,000 of either expenses or revenue, but in January, it's only $250. So again, that's that level loading opportunity to kind of look at this and analyze your data. So the chart type, you can do that either by charges, or you can do that by instrument or item count. So again, if you're kind of an internal manufacturer or an internal lab, this data right here may be pretty helpful. So for example, I can see in August, I have 11 instruments that are due, but here in June, I've only got 1. So again, with a smaller data set, those numbers or figures aren't really alarming, but what it does is it kind of gives you the ability to see across a 12-month cycle which months have a lot of instruments and which months don't have as many. And then on the same token, you can do that as a either an expense tool to see what your projected expenses are, or also what your projected revenue is if you're a commercial cal lab. So this workload charts tool is something I encourage you to explore and utilize. It's going to take into account those reoccurring due dates. And that's kind of the advantage you get using the workload charts tool, as opposed to just traditional equipment finder or any of our standard out-of-the-box reports to go and see what's coming due or past due for calibration. So the workload charts tool, it's a great, fantastic tool. Any of the data, you can always right-click and we can export that to a PDF or an Excel file. We allow you to do the same thing with the grid mode as well. So I encourage you to take a look at that and use this utility. As always, I do encourage you to contact our support team or myself with any questions. And just in closing, I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, and I hope you all have a great week. Thank you.